What is up, YouTube fam? Robbie C here. Today we are at Veterans Park in Alabaster, Alabama, and I'm so excited to get to formally introduce you to someone that I've been waiting several weeks to show you, and that is Dennis. This is Dennis the Duck. So we'll start off with, how are you doing today, Dennis? Are you having a good one?
So catch me if I fall.
So first, let's talk about Dennis, because this video we have a super exciting introduction that something has happened inside the disc golf world, and I'm so incredibly excited to introduce you guys and show you what's happening. And it's probably why you clicked on it, because of the thumbnail and the title of the video. But let's talk about Dennis first. When I find myself out on the disc golf course and I'm not putting well, or I get frustrated, you've seen it countless times in videos where I'm like, come on Dennis, get that putt up. So who is Dennis besides this little guy right here? Super cute, right? Many people may not know this about me, but my first name is actually Dennis Robert Crawford II, named after my dad. So I have Dennis, and rather than like carrying my frustration out on other people and, you know, harmful self-talk, all that jazz, Dennis catches all of my isolation. And we all know what sound a putt makes when it misses. And so one of my Birdie fan members, Wes, actually thought, well, what if you had like a duck that introduced all of it? And thus, Dennis the Duck was born. Now, I've got to be honest with you. This is not Dennis's first appearance in a video. In fact, Dennis has been making appearances ever since that conversation in the Birdie fam. You know, Dennis is rocking the cowboy hat because I rock the cowboy hat, and so he's been making lots of appearances in videos, subtly sitting on top of baskets, tee signs, all that. You can go back and try to find him as Easter eggs. His first appearance was actually in the Keep It 1000, the first attempt that we made. He was sitting on top of every single basket. But I wanted to introduce Dennis to the world. I wanted to introduce Dennis to you guys watching, and we were trying to figure out the right way to go about it. And so we started dreaming and thinking it up, and then an opportunity showed up with Gateway to make a special blend. I was going to get my own blend of plastic catered to how I like it, and I want to introduce you guys to the Birdie Blend. Dennis grabs his wizard hat because he's on a wizard, and the Birdie Blend was born. So what is the Birdie Blend? How did we come across it? What does it feel like? All of that. Well, I want to take you guys through it and talk through the process of how we created this special plastic specifically catered to me. I am so grateful for Gateway being willing to invest in this opportunity to make this plastic. And y'all, I am in love with how it turned out. And so I want to talk you through the process, the feel, how it throws, how it putts, all of that. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. And so to do this, I'm actually going to be comparing it to other wizards. But we have to first talk about what Gateway sent me, a whole box of putters with all of the different plastics and the one that I ended up landing on. So back in 2012, when I first got into disc golf, my oldest brother, John, introduced me to it, and he was putting with the wizard and absolutely loved it back then. And he asked my grandmother to actually get me a wizard for Christmas. So she went to Gateway's website and looked for that magic sounding putter because she couldn't remember wizard. And if you aren't familiar with the Gateway putter lineup specifically, they have quite a few options like the wizard, the warlock, the shaman, the magic, the voodoo. These are just a host of their options. And y'all, she didn't end up actually getting me a wizard. She got me a magic. Fast forward to Vlogmas 2023, and I'm already considering trying to switch away from the dagger, and I'm doing a bag swap with the Swanky fellas, and Luke was putting with wizards, and I felt like I just kept draining putt after putt after putt. And one point, we're on hole 7 of a bag swap with them, and this moment happens right here. So here's the deal, chat. If I make this putt right now, I'm switching to wizards. I'm bagging wizards.
Come on. He's bagging wizards.
Wizards! You're a wizard, Harry! And so we landed on wizards, but I needed to try out some plastics, and my friend Pete Collins actually gave me Topanga, which is a glow money blend wizard that I was excited to try out, and Topanga flew beautifully for me for a long time, but then I ended up getting a box of all the different plastics, and I found the Fossil plastic, which is in the Lizard. And Fossil is a proprietary blend for Reptilian discs, who's also manufactured by Gateway. And I fell in love with the Fossil for 2 reasons. One, the name, super cool. I mean, who doesn't love Fossil? That's so sick. And then second, I really loved the stiffness of it, but I wanted Fossil plastic to have just a tiny bit more tackiness to it, just a tiny bit more grip. And thus, the Birdie Blend was created. All right, now I've done a decent amount of talking, and I want to go ahead and answer the following questions while we're out here playing golf, and you know, we're going to throw and play. That's what we said we were doing this year, especially on Tuesday. So we're going to answer the following questions. 1, how does it fly? You're going to see that throughout the rest of this video. 2, what does it feel like? 3, what plastics would you compare it to? And 4, and finally, is it available? I'm going to be comparing it to this Diamond Glow Wizard, which is an older, it's a super glow. I have this wizard in my bag as an overstable throwing option. Whenever I don't want to throw Precious Child or Polecat, which are straight to flippy putters, I can throw this, and this has more glide than any of my pigs are going to have. I'm going to throw the Diamond Glow one first so that you have reference for it, and then I'm going to throw the Birdie Blend right after. There you go. Now let's see how the Birdie Blend flies. Did I put that one on more hyzer? I sure did. But you can already tell she got a little stability to her. Starting off with a circle 2 look and a circle 1 look. Because I have a more traditional type push putt, a lot of my power is coming from my fingers and my wrist involvement. And so if I have a softer putter, when I go to push the disc and hit it with a push putt, it actually ends up feeling like a softer putter folds in my hand a little bit, and that little bit of give that I get actually feels like I can't release the putt consistently. So I like a firmer putter for that reason. And today it's about 70 degrees outside. It's hot, I'm in shorts. Because of that like extra sweat, I immediately feel there's already some tackiness to this putter, which is exactly what we were looking for. Ooh, decent bit of glide. Got right there. Bangarang. So how do they feel? Well, one of the things that I immediately notice is this is that Glow Money Wizard that's a little older and a little more seasoned. So you can see it has some give to it right here. And a lot of people like that give in a putter for putting putter specifically. A lot of people like a softer putter that has that give, because also if you're using a softer putter and it lands or hits the metal or something like that, most often the softer ones, rather than rejecting hard and like getting up and rolling away, just gonna land nice and gentle next to the basket. Good argument for a soft putter, but like I said, especially even Topanga, a great option for the winter. But when I'm getting into these hot days, I can already feel just even in this 70-degree weather, let's say I throw this out there, I miss a putt, and then I gotta wait for the rest of my card to putt, it's gonna get really warm, which is gonna cause this to feel really gummy. Now, fossil plastic, a lot more stiff. You can see I'm giving that the same wear, and it's barely budging at all. But like we said with the fossil, I wanted a little more tack to it. And so that's where Birdie Blend really came in to shine. You can see I'm trying to give it the same amount of give, and this thing is rock solid, which I really appreciate. Just in terms of, this is me really jamming into it, and you can see how tacky my finger is. Like, I'm not gliding across it. When I'm really digging into it, I have a lot of grip, a lot of tack, which feels incredible. But don't just take my word for it. We actually did an event, the Birdie Fam Takes Over Birmingham, where my Patreon community over at patreon.com/RobbieCDiscGolf, they get to come in town. We do a whole weekend of golf together, and this year the weather was not very kind to us. But in their players packs, they actually got the first ever run of Birdie Blend, and I asked them for their thoughts, and here's what some of them said. Nice and stiff for push putts. The stamp may be a little too cute for me to actually try to mash it in the chains, because Dennis with the wizard hat, y'all, he's adorable. Derek, I personally like a gummier putter for putting, so I don't know if I would use it for putting, but as a throwing putter, I really like the stiffness and had a good grippiness where I don't feel like it's slipping out of my hands. Nate McMurray, who's actually on Team Gateway, said it feels like Firm and Firm Glow had a baby. Another guy said that it's almost like a hybrid of base plastic and premium, which as an R Pro user, definitely something that I'm looking for. We have a Trilogy guy who said that it feels like it's between classic and classic hard, but in my opinion, the shoulder feels nice and the hand feels good with the plastic. All right, little 150-foot turnover shot. Let's see how much we can put it in Annie. From here on out, we're actually gonna be throwing Birdie Blend first. So that way, if we ring it up, it like actually feels like a real ace. That came out of my hand really loose, and you can see that it held that Annie, but still had enough stability that it fought pretty much the whole time. I know with this Super Glow, I'm gonna have to hit it a little harder. Remember what I just said, I'm gonna have to hit it a little harder, and I didn't. Bummer on the throws. Now, one thing that I really like is that we're doing this in a plastic blend, which means that for some people, oh, come on, Dennis. Because it's in a plastic blend, let's say you don't necessarily love the Wizard. If we find enough interest and availability, Gateway has the opportunity. But really, what I was trying to say, and I was distracted by the potential of people getting to fall in love with this brand and this blend, is that let's say with Gateway having opportunities to make this blend, if it's like, oh, hey, we want to run a couple of Voodoos and see how people feel about that. We want to run some Magics and see how people feel about that. Or even, I know one of our Birdie fan members talked about, what if we got some mids available in it? The possibilities open up dramatically, because with doing a plastic blend versus just necessarily a stock or signature disc, there are way more options available to us. And that's one of my favorite parts about getting to work with Gateway, is that they are willing to open up the doors for those options to exist. This is where we're gonna cross some faux pas or like disc golf like bleh moments off, because most of the time that you're working with one manufacturer, you're talking about a blend or something like that, comparing to or talking about other manufacturers or other options out there can feel like a massive faux pas. But we're here on this channel, so we're making our own rules, and not everyone's thrown Gateway plastic before, so even saying it's firm and Firm Glow had a baby may not be the best relation for you. So let's compare to some other options. When I think back to my days of being on Team Innova, putting with KC Pro plastic was amazing. I absolutely loved putting with KC Pro ABRs. It felt super good. I loved the firmness of the plastic, but what I found is that KC Pro plastic off the shelf didn't necessarily have a ton of tackiness to it. And while it seasoned in to be extremely nice, it didn't necessarily start off that way, which for me, going to, let's say, a winter putt where someone with poor circulation in his hands and trying to putt with it in colder climates could be really tough. This feels like seasoned KC Pro plastic off the shelf. I love what Steven was saying about it feels like it's between classic and classic hard plastic with the Trilogy lineup, because I really do think it has that firmness of the classic hard, but it has the tackiness of a more classic blend. But I also want to make sure to address sort of even a criticism that someone inside the Birdie fam had, that like it feels really stiff, and I like that, but I wish it had a little more tackiness. And let's talk about why it doesn't maybe have all the tackiness that some people may be looking for immediately off the shelf, even though, as we pointed out, it definitely starts with some tackiness. Here we go, right up the gut, going high, little right. I mean, it's just so nice, guys. Like you can see, throwing it out there, pushes right a little bit, but still had the fade to get back every single time. I'm just trying to throw it as flat as I possibly can, and it still got there. See, that one I knew I had to pull on Anheuser and pull over in order to get it to not fight out. The Birdie Blend, being in a base plastic, is going to be more affordable than the Premium Glow older one. So already, like, the availability going to be huge. Now, when talking with Dave McCormick, who is the owner / mad genius of Gateway Disc Sports, we talked about how often when people are discussing putters and discs in general, they are looking to talk about what the seasoned or beat-in version of that plastic is. And so often, because we are chasing off the shelf what that feeling could be, if it starts there, we have to understand that with wear and tear and time and usage, especially for me using this as a putting putter, it's gonna hit the chains every single round. Ideally, it's gonna hit the chains every single hole on its first time, but we all know that we make mistakes, so there's gonna be somewhere the putter hits the ground. You can literally look at the last hole. So if we started with a super, super tacky, grippy putter off the bat, which is that extra tackiness that a lot of people are looking for, by the time that it seasons in or gets like, you know, used a decent bit, then it's gonna end up a lot closer to Gateway's 4S, their super stupid, silly soft, which is a lot more gummy and things like that. So in the art of transparency, sure, do I wish that they had just like maybe a tiny bit more tack right off the shelf? Absolutely. I'm never gonna complain about like adding more tackiness into it. But I also have to see the longer picture that we have to, if we want this dream shape or this dream thing, because I agree with the statement that this feels like a nice blend or hybrid because of the stiffness between a base plastic and a premium plastic. We know that once it seasons in, it stands the test of time of once it finds its shape, it's gonna hold it for a good bit of time. I mean, just think about the probably older guys that you have on your card that are pulling those Wizards out of their bag that they've had in there since '94. even taking the back door route, it's still gonna be stable. And I just have like a 15-footer. That worked out. All right, let's go stand in some thorns, shall we? And I'm slipping in the leaves. One of the nice things about the firmness of this is it just takes a little bit of finger pop, and because there's no give on these whatsoever, because they are firm, it makes it so easy to just give these any finger pop whatsoever, and they're just popping up and soaring into the basket. You get all of the glide that you're looking for in a traditional wizard with like half the effort. All right, you've waited long enough. Time to answer the question. Where can you find these? How are they available? When we first ran these, I know based on my analytics, I know based on views, things like that, y'all, putting is just not as sexy as the big distance. And I get that. And while I can somewhat disagree, you know, I'd love more distance. So we ran this initial run of Birdie Blend as a somewhat exclusive for the Birdie fam for this event, and we tested it out. But we do have some leftovers, and so for the first crowd of people that are interested in pouring them, they're going to be available at foundationdiscs.com. They're literally available when this video drops, so you're going to want to go check it out. Surprise, surprise, Birdie Blend setting us up for a birdie. As I walked up the fairway, I am feeling that there is a massive little wind that I could not feel on the box that's coming over like us over this house into this ridge. Birdie Blend still held up and faded out even in that weather. Got us the easy bird. Foundationdiscs.com, you can find them, but let me tell you, there is a very, very limited quantity of them. So not a ton of them available, and because of that, what we're willing to do is we're talking with Gateway so that when these drop, if they sell out immediately and there's interest, then we will run another small batch. We're gonna try to keep these in smaller batches so that way it's not like, oh man, we're gonna run like 400 of them at a time, so that we're sitting on a ton of these, because running them in smaller batches actually opens up more opportunities for us to say, hey, let's run elements in this plastic, or let's run another putter of that type. But we know that, you know, some people aren't going to be able to get a hold of them right off the bat that are looking to get a hold of them, and that's why we also are putting Dennis on them. You'll notice I have on this Robbie shirt on the front, and it's got Dennis on the back. Now, this was originally made possible because my mom has a heat press, and she took Dennis with the cowboy logo, which is, to me, although I love Wizard Dennis is going to be exclusively available on shirts and on these wizards. Cowboy Dennis is what we're running on shirts as well. And if you guys love Cowboy Dennis, maybe we'll put them on some other discs and run that in the future. Once again, we do all of this for you. So if you want stuff, you just gotta let us know in the comments, because the more likes and things that a comment gets lets us know more availability, and we wanna run custom stuff. For instance, we ran some Robbie C key owls. You know, the owl now having a lifelong impact on me with the new ink that we got here. We put 50 of them up on the website, and I didn't even talk about them on any of my personal channels. We just talked about it on What's New in the Warehouse and in the bag, and they all sold out. See, I'm not giving this thing the stability credit that it deserves. I threw it right at the basket, and it's still fading in, which is really great because it's a base plastic, because that just lets me know. Mold minimalization cycling coming in. Ooh, not enough on that one, Dennis. Too much on that one, Dennis. And Goldilocks. Super glow, however. Good job, buddy. So I want to say once again that I am sorry in advance for those of you who were unable to get some of this first run, because like I said, it's a very small run. But if there's enough interest and these sell out super fast, that'll let us know, hey, it's worth ordering more so that we can get more out there, have more available. I mean, after all, it's like for a lot of people who talk about like, oh, we want to put in like a local course, but all we'd have is just like an easy little baby 9-hole. Any course is better than no course, and any discs are better than no discs. Oh, I liked it. I liked it out of my hand. First Wizard Ace. Nah, too wide. All right, let's close out some putts and close out this video, shall we? Birdie Blend. I may have to send one of these off to Pete to get him to draw like a little Topanga to sit next to Dennis on one of my putting putters. Dennis. What do you guys think? Should I get Pete to see if he can put like a little Topanga right next to here? That'd be fun. And that's gonna do it for today's video. I am so stoked for this opportunity, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in week to week, day to day, and watching what like this silly little guy be out here and film all of this. Your support means the world to me. I mean, it's crazy to me when like I had another influencer send me a picture of one of you wearing one of my like shirts. That's unreal, guys. So y'all are the best. I'm so grateful. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Please make it fantastic for someone else too. But for now, we're gonna leave you with the birdie.